Hello and welcome to So Good We Named It, the first Golden Girls and Golden Palace podcast, and to my knowledge, the only Golden Girls, Golden Palace podcast with black hosts. I'm Barry.
Bliggity black. And I'm Kay.
And we are going to get started in just a moment, but I do want to say we've been on a little hiatus. I was feeling a little under the weather, but we're back, baby, and better than ever. So my apologies to anyone who had on headphones, but we're going to just dive right on. We have a lot of exciting things that have come up. I do, first of all, just want to say, if you don't know, my really big news, bigger than the dead mother-in-law, is that we will be at GoldenCon as panelists.
Yes, we will. We'll be in there, live and in color.
Like this is obituary worthy. Like if I died after that, like that's something that's going in the obituary. And I did tell my husband I do want a Golden Girls themed funeral, FYI. But like this is big. Like I don't even know how to describe it because the Golden Girls has been my life for so long, and this is you can't get anything bigger than the first convention, and we're going to be on stage talking about it. Like I would have been happy ripping tickets up at the door, but this is much better. So we have a lot of exciting things that we have planned, and let us know if you want some merch or something. It doesn't have to be So Good We Named It specific. It could just be random Golden Girls merch, because we can do that too. We can do anything and everything you want, and I'm excited to meet people that are part of the fandom that we've only interacted with online. There's a lot of people that'll be there. Matt Browning, H. Allen, Scott. I haven't heard the hosts of Enough Wicker say that they would be there, but hopefully they can, and just so many other people, and it's going to be very exciting, and hopefully we get to meet the celebrity guests. I would love to meet Gil Kessler and Yvonne, and Mr. Haha, and young Dorothy. I know these are not these people's real names, but for those that don't know their real names, I figured that'd be easier. But young Dorothy's going to be there, and Barbara Weston is going to be there. It's very exciting, and I'm...
Drop the dates. April what?
It's going to be April 22nd through April 24th, and like the girls, I will be getting a hotel to make a whole weekend of it. Hopefully I don't end up getting arrested for prostitution. I don't believe it. But this is it's beyond exciting, and I feel like we started this at just the right time. And,
excellent timing.
I don't have the words. You're angels, all of you. But I also have a little note I want to read that was sent in by Jim, who goes by Freddie Peterson on the GoldenGirlsNews.com forums. They have a little
Freddie Peterson.
A little snippet that they wanted me to share, which would be some fun facts about the Golden Girls outside of the series. And I'm going to try to include some links. By the way, I don't currently have this on Apple anymore. I've had so many issues trying to upload on Apple. So we're just going to have to stick with YouTube and Spotify and Anchor for now. Maybe I'll get on Google. So my apologies to anyone that specifically, exclusively loves Apple.
We're sorry.
So... there's no doubt if you're reading, listening to this, you're a Golden Girls fan. You know the ladies, Blanche, Dorothy, Rose, and Sophia, and you know something about each of their characters. You've likely seen all 180 episodes of the series and perhaps even the spinoff Golden Palace, but you may not know of 3 different occasions where the girls appeared in character off the series. In 1987, Dorothy, Rose, Blanche, and Sophia take part in Comedy Relief. The special was presented by Whoopi Goldberg, Robin Williams, and Billy Crystal. While not in full characters, the ladies do chat a bit about the show, and Betty does a special performance that you'll have to see to believe. And again, I've got links that I'm going to include for all of this. In 1988, our 4 ladies ventured across the pond to London for a command performance. The Queen Mother was a fan of the show, and the ladies were invited to appear at a televised royal variety performance. Sophia walks onto the stage and banters with the announcer, Ronnie Corbett. Eventually, the other 3 ladies join them, acting as though they have been on a tour of London. Eventually, they sit down to enjoy cheesecake, and a scene from an episode plays out live. After the performance, the ladies meet with the Queen Mother and Princess Anne. Betty White referenced the experience in her book, Here We Go Again, My Life in Television. Let's see. Picture It, April 22nd, 1990. ABC Television presents the Earth Day special, which featured a number of Hollywood stars appearing together to discuss pollution, deforestation, and other environmental concerns. During the program, we visit 6151 Richmond Street, the home of the girls, as they are watching television in the living room. There's no laugh track in the 2 minute skit. The ladies discuss buying takeout food and the problems related to styrofoam. If you've seen the ladies in character outside the series, we'd love to hear about it. Be sure to check out goldengirlsnews.com for photos, videos, interviews, and history of one of the greatest sitcoms ever. Well, thank you, Jim, for that very educational tidbit there. And I have seen all of these since you sent this to me, and it is weird and interesting to see the girls as the girls, but not on the show. So definitely check these links out, and thank you for that contribution. And anyone else that has anything they may want to share, I've had a few people reach out and say they'd love to guest co-host. Definitely DM me just so I can remember you in case it's lost in my tweets. But we would love to have like a little, rotating panel, or we may do something similar to what Enough Wicker did and just have one show full of everybody that wants to contribute. We still have to figure out what would be the easiest or best way to do that. But we definitely want to hear from you all because a lot of people have a lot they have to say, but they don't want to have to make their own podcast to say it. Definitely relatable. So, that was a mouthful. Jeez Louise, I'm easily winded. And if you all hear me slurping in the background like Dorothy having a malted nom, I am drinking an energy drink for whatever reason. Every day that we choose to record, I'm always so tired. I don't think I have chronic fatigue syndrome. I think it's just interesting timing. So I'm like, okay, let me just keep my energy levels up. But I did want
narcoleptic.
I did. Well, the doctors thought I was narcoleptic, but I actually have idiopathic hypersomnia. So look that up if you think you might have it. We'll be twins. But I did post on the Twitter. And if you're not following, so good we named it on Twitter, you're missing out. But I really enjoyed the shows we did where people submitted their own hot topics, so to speak, about the show. So I felt like, why not? Let's do it again and see if there's anything else. So we do have a few. Let me do the one from Instagram first before I forget. Because I just made the Instagram. I only made the Instagram so that GoldenCon could tag me because I haven't really been on Instagram in a while. So go ahead and follow us on there also. But let me see. Looks like we have Julie, TEF_2828. I thought it said Julie the fuck. So I had to stop. But it does not say that. So just want to clarify. Let's see.
Thank you for the clarification.
Julie says they want to hear us talk about Rose's life before Miami. I feel like we don't hear much.
Really, no.
Like Rose does have her say in all of stories where she'll pick, certain pieces. But if you try to piece it all together into a cohesive story,
almost impossible.
Like you had a BMW, you lived in a burning building. It's just hard to try to figure out the timeline because I believe in the first season, Charlie had been dead for 15 years. So 1970, and then there's a flashback where she's talking to Charlie. I get the rose. You know the rules. And she's like, I've been reading up on Miami, and I think I'm going to give it a try. I mean, that's very ambitious to be an older lady, and you're moving across the country by yourself, somewhere you know nothing about, to start a new life, leaving, all your friends and family behind. I don't think I could do it. So kudos to Rose. But I'm sure you could.
I mean, in a hot second.
If I've talked about this, in real life, not that the podcast is fake life, that if I wasn't married and had all these pets and everything, especially with my job being remote, I would move in a heartbeat. But I guess to be at that stage of my life and to be moving, probably not. I'm still relatively young, so I feel like it's easier to do. And then especially just knowing Rose, like that seems like a lot for her to be doing. But other than that, as far as her life,
a lot of people retire to Florida, though.
True, that is true. I guess in my head, they're doing it with their friends or with their spouse, not just up and doing it. And then that's just so far away.
From Minnesota.
And then it's a whole different lifestyle. Like, she had a farm. So I'm wondering, like, as far as the timeline, like at this point, her mother would have still been alive. So you left your mother too. That's why she had to get the guy from prison. But did Charlie and Rose have a farm? Like, how did that
Mm,
process work? How old were the kids? Because when we meet them, like especially Bridget, she was college age, so she should have been a kid back then. Like, there's a lot of loopholes. So
mhm.
I'm just curious how that worked out. But good question and good call out, as they say at our job.
Right.
Um,
By and large, good call
yeah,
out.
with Rose's life, I would love to see like a prequel series of shoot
That
all
would
the
have been dope.
girls. I
That
wouldn't
would have been
mind
really
seeing
cool.
that. Like if anyone's a fan of Medea, Tyler Perry's working on a series about her life before she was Medea, and I would love to see
Mm,
like how they did with Sex in the City. They had the Carrie Diaries. I would like to see,
hmm
as Monique would say, I would like to see it. Like
Also, how they did with the Power Book stories as well. I have to bring that up because
oh, I've
I like
never
that.
watched that, but
Wow,
yeah, sorry.
no problem.
Take my black card. But yeah, I think a prequel because people are quick to say they don't want to see a remake, but if it's a prequel, that's a little different. Even a cartoon, anything, I'll take it. I'm desperate. So let
Mm,
me see what we have on Twitter. Quite a few things on there. I also wanted to talk because Matt Browning and I, who wrote the book, the definitive, I'm looking around so I can see it. I'm always moving things around on my shrine. It's not in its usual place.
mhm.
But the
It's really
definitive,
ridiculous. I want you to. You should post it one day so everybody can see
I
how
have, but
ridiculous
I'm
it is.
always adding to it, so it's never updated. But I do want to do an updated version of my
It's
shrine.
ridiculous.
It's a little sick. When we get a house, I will have a Golden Girls room, and I probably will be buying one
You
of the
need one.
the chairs that are like it's 9,000 for the love seat or 12,000 for two. But it says make us an offer. So like I said on Twitter, I'm gonna offer a veal and pepper sandwich or a colored rock like Marguerite and see if that's enough because that's a little pricey. If anyone would like to
Very much.
fund that, we can definitely do that. But Matt Browning and I were talking about the whole B versus Betty thing. And he had an interview that he did with David Leisure, who was on Empty Nest, where he was kind of,
hmm
talking about that. And I'm sorry, I just refuse to believe that B hated Betty. And it's not just because,
They didn't
oh,
hate each other, but they had like a whole feud thing going on.
I think
And
that
Rue and Betty were so close, and then B and Estelle were, but they weren't like all together.
I think hate is a strong word because there's a lot of people we work with that we can get along with and be okay with and fine, but do we want to hang out with them outside of work? Absolutely not. If, something happened and
Mm-mm.
they quit or whatever, are we going to be like, "Oh, how have things been?" No. But it doesn't mean I hate them. So I think they just had a good professional relationship and it wasn't a personal, thing because I don't think they were hanging out like that even though it's
Mm-mm.
been said that in the beginning they did hang out a lot, especially when both their mothers died during the first season. But
Right, and it flipped around. I don't know what caused that like discrepancy
um,
between the two of
well, I
them.
did just see a clip of an interview where Betty was saying how B is would mess up so much sometimes because she was laughing at a line that they would just write it out of the script and maybe she didn't like being put on blast. But I feel like
Mm.
they would not keep working together if it was that bad. Like there's plenty of shows where people hate each other. Look at Kim Cattrall. But for them to keep working together, even decades later at the TV Land Awards and all this other stuff, I feel like that's just
Mm-hmm.
part of B's personality because there were a lot of things where all the girls would participate and she wouldn't. Like the MTV Movie Awards, they did like a Clueless knockoff and she didn't do that. And they were on the
Mm.
John Marquette show, she didn't do that. I think that's just part of who she was. And she was also very shy, so she might not always want to do all that. But someone else,
Or she just didn't really get down with them like that too.
which is fine. I mean, I feel like you can respect your coworkers and and interact with them, but not in a personal way. There's nothing wrong with keeping that separate. And I think
Mm-hmm.
when Betty has talked about it, I think she probably was being a little cheeky, and people just ran with it. And she said like, "Oh, B just really didn't like me, and because I was just so cheerful." If she really felt that way, that B felt like that about her, just knowing the type of person that Betty appeared to be, I don't think she'd be saying that publicly. I think a lot of it was,
Yeah.
with a little bit of humor because it's, perceived whatever type of persona B had. Someone even said that she just always needed someone to hate. And I always need someone to hate. And I can relate. I can definitely relate to not really being into super cheerful people and all that, and being
I
like,
was just
get the
gonna
hell
say
out of
that.
my
You know, it's
face.
a super exactly. It's a super Care Bear person. It should be like, all right, that's enough now.
Right, but I
Okay.
don't hate them. So
Right. No.
I think people just really ran with that because they just want to have some drama, and I don't think
Mm.
it's that serious because she wanted to leave after season 5 and she stayed 2 extra seasons and she even came on Golden Palace. If you hate her, are you gonna be like, yeah, let me go do
Mm-hmm.
this guest spot? You say no, hell no, I'm sick of her ass. So I think just because
Mm-hmm.
they played such best friends and then Rue and Betty had a relationship that it's like, okay, well, if they aren't best friends, so she must have hated her. And I think that there's there's nuance. There's not one or the other. So maybe
But
I'm
how was
just
Rue and B's relationship?
it was good because they did Maud together and she,
Right. Right.
convinced her to do the Golden Girls. Although I've seen
Mm-hmm.
interviews with both of them where the story's a little varying. But I can see how if B was super professional and like to, stay in character and Betty's like out with the crowd, amping them up, how that she might be like, okay, do you mind?
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think hate is a strong word, for sure. Maybe I'm just in a fantasy world and I want to pretend that they're all best friends. But I feel like when that is the case, like Will and Grace, they started feuding during the reboot,
Mm.
and I feel like you could see it in the show, but I feel like you never saw
Right.
anything like that with
No,
them,
I never would have thought it.
unless they're just that professional where they can hide it.
Phenomenal actresses, just phenomenal.
But I think feud is definitely overkill for sure, at the very least.
Mm. Mm.
So let me see who else we have on here. So Enough Wicker. They said they're anxious to get our views on women's issues, which you might recall from the show. They said, but no,
Mm.
but for real, we recently tried to name our all-time favorite one-liners, and it was tough. So many to choose from. Would love to hear yours. Kay, would you like to go first? Put you on the spot.
No,
Okay.
no,
So
my brain doesn't work that way.
I tend to like the more obscure ones. I mean, of course, isn't Danny Thomas one? Stuff like that is a great go-to,
Mm.
and it's unfortunate no one ever knows what I'm talking about, and I just say it out of context, at least to amuse myself. But one random thing I love to say, if you recall, when they went to the hospital, I think it was for, I want to say it was when either Blanche had her. Um, Pacemaker, but I think it might have been when Rose met her father, and there
Mm.
was no, I'm lying. It's when Miles got his plastic surgery, and Sophia came
Mm.
in the room and she took the clipboard and she's like, reading material, and she took it into the bathroom. I always will randomly say that, and then there was
Mm-hmm.
another time I can't even remember what the context was. Maybe someone can tell us. When Sophia's just randomly like novelty night, and I will say that a lot as well. I also like when she is at the bar with Agnes. I want you to be there when
Mm.
I kill myself. And and Sophia says when the guy takes her down, she's like, "I thought it was better the first time. How about you?" But the one I usually will say in everyday conversation is, "Now I can't wait to get down." But I don't even
Mm.
know in what context I'm saying these things, but I feel like they make sense in the
Okay.
moment.
I say
Um,
take me Biff a lot. Take me Biff.
yeah, that's another good one. I'm trying to think. 'Cause what other ones I say? I
What's
wasn't
my other one?
prepared.
Beat at your 50-year-old mattress. I like that one too.
Yeah, that's they're all great. I like to say you're only
Mm.
gonna sit in an inch of water.
Yeah, that was my highlight.
Because she just
What
says
she
it with
say?
such
He's gonna
ease.
slightly cover my bosoms. You're only
She
gonna sit in
says,
the inch of
I'm
water.
gonna go slip into the tub with just enough water to barely cover my
Barely
perky
cover my
bosom."
perky bosoms. You're only gonna
Um,
sit in the inch of water. Sophia was a savage.
she was, and with such ease, just didn't
Period.
even care.
What else
Um,
did she say that I liked?
let's see. I feel like I feel like this will be followed up later because there's just so
Yeah.
many and
Have you
I
ever
wasn't
seen a
ready.
herring shoot out of a cannon? That was my favorite episode because they were all breaking character because they were laughing so hard when Rose was telling the story about the herring circus.
Well, guess again, oh special one. Another line I like to use. Apparently, that was not them breaking character, and
What was it?
one of the writers from the show uploaded a script showing where it was noted in the script all of those gestures and them, trying to hold it in or whatever. That was all part of the script. They're just that great of actresses.
Really?
And there were a few times throughout the show where people I've seen them tweet like, "Oh, they look at them breaking characters." They would never. They're just too professional for that,
Wow.
and they're just that great
I
that it
thought
looked
they were
like they were.
breaking.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
I thought that sometimes, but I feel like sometimes B's laugh isn't very convincing. Like when she got up from the table and she's like stomping her feet at the story and just, drying away her non existent tears. I love B, but laughing and eating, she was not very convincing a lot of times. Like something I think was the maple molasses log that Rose made, and she's like, "Oh, how practical! A snack you can panel your den with." And she's just so dramatic in eating that microscopic piece, just like when Sophia brought them the pizza to taste test after the Mama Celeste remark. Again, B is just so dramatic. Like, just eat it. I know she didn't like cheesecake.
Remember the herring crispies? I wanted to try the herring crispies.
Is that they weren't herring crispies? It was like
not herring crispies. The crispies.
I know what you're talking about.
They have to hold their nose and
Verhoeven or something like that, and she's like,
something like that.
And when Betty reacts, she's like, "Oh, it tastes just like cheesecake with blueberries and ice cream." And she's holding her stomach. I'm like, all that from this one piece. Get out of here. I feel like
Van Hooven crispies.
Yeah, that's something like that. I feel like Rue was more convincing when she would eat. But it's been like my little game to watch to see if they actually even hold the fork up to their mouth, because they'll just move it around and put it up close and show
and put it like down, stay aligned.
A pan of lasagna and you have one bite. But I feel like Dorothy, I'm sorry, B. Arthur, may you rest in peace. You just were not always convincing with the food scenes for me, especially when they would flash back, like in the one of the episodes, I think it was when Sophia was going to move out the first time and they were doing like golden moments and they were talking about the fact that they always eat. And then it comes back to Dorothy and she's like, I guess some things never change. And she's just licking the hell out of this fork that has nothing on it.
Nothing on it.
So I just always zero in on that. But I feel like I'm going to go back to that because I've have all these one-liners on the tip of my tongue. Go ahead.
You, sir, can kiss my A.
That too. Oh, I like to say, you don't get any lemonade. And when she says, you want my mother for sex games? I love Sophia's response. And she's like, it's not that unbelievable. But again, those are just some of the ones that I just say out of context that probably don't mean anything. Gorgeous, gorgeous,
People look
gorgeous.
At you crazy because they don't know.
Then Enough Wicker also said, we all pined for Jake, but what other relationships do you all think could have had potential? Might have been caught up in the performance, but Trudy's husband and Dorothy certainly seem to have some chemistry. Yeah, that would have been interesting. I mean, clearly Dorothy doesn't mind dating married men, so.
Right, but they all don't. Well, except Rose.
And Kristen Marino and Golden Girls Quotes are all on this bandwagon with John Noretti. They seem very into John. I mean, he was okay. He didn't leave much of a lasting impression like that to me.
None of them really left lasting impressions.
A few. Really. I mean, I do think Jake was good. And it's interesting that there are times where it seems like Blanche is going to have a serious relationship and then she does something to fuck it up. But then there's... And it's kind of like a recurring thing, and even Dorothy says it once, like, whenever there's a good guy, you find a reason why you can't pursue it. But then the times where Blanche is going to pursue it, then they do something. So I think that's unfair because Blanche is always trying to get married. She's trying to get married in the pilot. She tries to get married in the last episode of the Golden Palace, which she may have, who knows, with Bobby Lee, not to spoil it. But there was quite a few times Blanche is always trying to get married, so... I don't know why. I feel like that is a thing that they put on her character, but honestly, that's not really true. But I'm trying to think who else. Like, I definitely liked Ken with Dorothy. I feel like that was a good match. And I feel like we've talked about this before, but I guess we're going to talk about it again. Maybe I should write down what we talk about. But yeah, Ken the lawyer, and she's lying. She's such a liar. Which is something what Sophia said that once to her was, she's such a liar. That was on Golden Palace. She's like, it's not the clown thing. Yeah, it's the clown thing.
It is the clown thing.
It's definitely. Like Dick Van Dyke, he's a primo catch, as Stan would say. And I low-key kind of liked her getting back with Stan a little bit, as problematic as that may be.
Why do you like toxicity?
He was a changed man.
Shit.
He made up for it.
Shit.
Hey Stan, can I be pothead? Another line I love.
I didn't like Stanley. He was trash.
He was, but I feel like he kind of redeemed himself a little bit, even though he kidnapped her.
I like that one too.
there was a line. I'm probably gonna mess it up. I should go to Oh Shut Up Rose to find out what it is exactly. But when Stan's like, I'm a changed, I'm a new Stan, and Sophia hands him some money, and I may be messing it up a little bit. Dorothy's like, no, Ma, he's not a newsstand. He's a new
A
stand.
new
Because the audience kind of
stand.
pauses, like, where's she going with this? Why did she hand him money?
uh,
And that was pretty fun. I don't know if that counts as a one-liner. Um, and then Sophia saying, "And you're nuts" in the meeting where they're like, "You're special." I do like that one as well. Also,
mm-hmm.
like, I know what a metaphor is. I'm not a dummy, dear, or whatever she says. I'm like, yes, read her.
I like not Lebanese Rose, lesbian.
Lesbian,
She's like lesbian,
lesbian,
lesbian.
lesbian.
Oh,
I love that raspiness that her voice tended
mm,
to have. I would love to know the long term effects of doing that accent forever. I just feel like it would have to hurt after a while, like Jasmine Guy with Whitley. And another one.
that wasn't her. Why didn't I know that wasn't her real voice?
And her real
To
voice
Wayne.
is very deep too, and
Yeah,
also
to
raspy.
Wayne. I didn't know that was her. Wasn't her voice?
No, she does not
The
talk like that.
deception. She
Um,
does not. She developed that character. Shout out to her.
Even though sometimes I feel like roles that are so immersive, you kind of get stuck, and that's all people want to see you in.
Like
Um,
Braxton from Jamie Foxx.
yes,
He
or
was
Steve
he made
Urkel.
the little statement that he was, I'm not
I watched
Braxton.
a
You
video
are.
about that actually,
Hmm.
and
You are
also,
Braxton.
am I? Oh no, he is. Yeah, okay.
He is.
And I also like, oh, you heard that? I thought I was safe, backed up against these pillows. I feel like I love Sophia's one-liners the most, just because of the little,
Yeah.
tonation in her voice.
I
Um,
like the what are you trying to pickle yourself to live to be 100?
yeah, Dorothy was so forceful with hers. I feel like it's harder to just sneak those into a conversation.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think who else did I like with the girls. Somebody was saying Dorothy specifically, then it just turned into all of them. Most of them, no, most of them sucked, which is why it didn't work. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like the guy who she was gonna date with little Oreo, he was creepy. He was a little too into Oreo.
Yeah.
He was giving me a little pedophile vibe. Sorry, I
Just a
just putting that out
titch.
there. And
Just a titch. Jake is the one. Jake was Blanche's date, right?
yeah, Jake was the one
The
that was
one
the
who didn't want to
caterer.
have sex right away.
I don't
Who
know
was the one
about
that didn't want
that.
to have sex with her? And he took him
Um,
to the
oh
room and
yeah,
the bed
that
was hot.
guy. And with what the few times we see a new set when they had like that tiki hotel,
Yeah.
um, that one, and so many times it's alluded that they're gonna keep talking, and then you just never hear anything
Hmm.
else about it. He was okay.
Right.
And then again, the guy with the Oreo, not the Oreo, with Oreo,
Hmm.
he something else I didn't like about him. Oh, and he's like, oh, the perfect little family, and I hope there's room for me. Like, calm down, okay? Slow your
Okay,
roll.
relax.
You're doing a lot.
Hmm.
But there really weren't a lot of keepers to me. I just felt like everybody was a dick
Mm-mm.
and not the good kind. Like, the jerk in the wheelchair or Ernie. I felt like so many times
Ernie.
the girl, say it, Ernie, the girls would like basically fix the guy. And he's like, well, back to my ex, like the
Right.
newscaster. And I just feel like, why is it their job? And why wouldn't you want to stay with her? She's the one that fixed you. So
Hmm.
I don't care for many of them. Maybe I'm missing somebody. John Reddy was okay. The
Hmm.
guy that Sophia set Dorothy up with that had just got out of prison, minus that, which we don't want to shame people for being incarcerated. They
Right.
seemed like they were getting along, and then Dorothy just abruptly was like, "Never mind," right when she got to the door and found out. And then also Eddie, he wasn't dating material, but at least he
Hmm.
was blowing her back out.
What about Barry Glickman?
Which one? Oh, when she has to be svelte for Barry. I'm trying to
Hmm.
picture him. Barry Glick. I gotta go look. Let me look him up real quick because I can't even
Barry
picture who he
Glick.
is. Let's see. I liked Arnie, even though we eventually got Miles. Let's see. Barry Glick. I need a picture, and I feel like I'll be able to remember him. Oh,
It was our old high school sweetheart, remember?
yeah, but I need to see his face so I
I
can
thought he was
really
handsome, if
remember
I
him.
remember correctly in my memory.
I googled it and I got Barry Glick MD.
Put Barry Glick Golden Girls.
Did we see him? Because I'm seeing now that it was season 1 episode, and I'm seeing like screenshots. But did we actually see him, or did she just talk about him?
I see. I might be having that. What's that thing called where you thought you remembered something but you didn't?
The
I thought I
Mandela
remembered
Effect.
him. Yeah, I thought I seen him.
Well, there is a guy in that episode that's Dorothy talks to on the lanai, but that's one of Rose's patients from the clinic or whatever that she just had to come see her at the house because she got fired. So maybe that's what you're thinking about, because Dorothy's like, hello.
It was season 1, episode 22.
Yeah, and she's like, hello, I live here. You don't. So maybe that's the guy you're thinking of. I kind of liked Al Beatty, except for the fact that he was having an affair. Which, by the way, I just had tweeted the other day. I was like, that was one of the few times they used a new set, and that was very elaborate just for Al Beatty's house, and it seemed very luxurious. Someone had asked me, because they live in Indonesia, I believe, if Boca Raton is luxurious. I've not been, but I always assume it is. Whenever it's mentioned on a show, it has like an air of luxury to it. I know there's Boca Burgers, but I feel like it's like a fancy resort city. I may be wrong. Let me Google
Boca
that.
Raton, Florida. It's the retirement capital. That's where all the rich, I forgot we're being monitored. Where all the rich people live.
Who's monitoring us?
The CDC.
Yeah, so every picture I'm looking at, it looks quite luxurious. I might go there.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Boca Raton. It's where all the rich people live, or where they retire to.
And people are commenting back that it was a very nice house, because we're doing this live basically, because we're getting tweets in as we're doing it. Let me see what the other ones are on here. So many. Sam, Shady Pine Sam, who I believe is across the pond because they do a lot of tweeting about the royal family. So hello from America. They said if you had to choose one, Biff, Doug, or Skippy. I think I'd have to pick Skippy just because he's the only one we ever met. But it was not confirmed that he was Skippy. The Golden Girls wiki page does say that Matthew and Skippy are interchangeable, but we don't know that for a fact. So if I take out that, because that's the only thing that put him to the forefront, I'd have to say Biff, because I'm just picturing not the Biff from the show. I'm picturing Biff from, what is that fucking movie? Back to the Future. I just feel like Blanche would have a son that would be an asshole jock like that. So, and that's the only reason. Doug seems boring. Not interested in him.
Uninterested. No interest.
Who would you pick?
Skippy.
Okay. Because of the peanut butter?
Skippy.
Let's see. And then Golden Girls posters, our guest from our most recent episode said, Lincoln, great statesman, or gas guzzler. And there's phrases like that you remember from the show, but you don't remember the episode, the context. So I'm just going to say gas guzzler. Golden Girls quotes ask, who's in charge of cheese? I'm going to say the little man in the refrigerator that scares Rose. That's my final answer.
Man is in there.
Benny, aka Playboy Benny 1 on Twitter, asks, the kind of in the same vein of the other question, you should rate Dorothy's men. They're all very nuanced. I have a soft spot for Glenn, regrettably. Ken was completely wrong for Dorothy. He needed a Rose. Dr. Elliot was her worst choice. So this isn't so much a who do you love, it's let's drag them. So I think that Ken would have been a good fit for Rose, because she likes that type of shit. Dr. Elliot was definitely the worst, and I feel like that just plays into that, Dorothy's an ugly man type of thing, that he would just go behind her back. But I do like that he didn't go for Rose, so it's like, well, maybe they're both ugly. But it's one of the only times, I think, where they happen to have a bar set up. How convenient. And I love that Blanche just knows how to make a slow gin fizz. I don't even know what that is. They always bring up drinks. A slow gin fizz, I think is what she says. They
used to drink a little bit.
Yeah, but I haven't seen them with an actual bar set besides that, I don't think. But they always bring up drinks I've never heard of, like gimlets and Harvey Wallbangers. And I'm like, does anybody drink just a Shirley Temple or something simple? But they just happen to know how to make them, of course. And Elliot was very we'll get into this more if we ever get around to getting to the specific episodes, but he was very forward for Dorothy to be right there. She could come in the room at any time, and he's putting his arms around Blanche's alleged tiny little waist. So I do think he's definitely the worst just because of how bold he was and because he was going to break up their friendship. Dorothy was going to have to move out, like all of this shit just because you're doing too much.
Too much.
Trying to think. Glenn
For why
O'Brien.
though?
Glenn
I
O'Brien
liked
was
Glenn.
he was the P word because you're doing all of this stuff and I'm gonna leave my wife and blah 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 and you're still hiding, still running around. Look, put on your big boy pants. If you want to be with Dorothy, be with Dorothy. You're doing all this
But
extra shit.
it's fake complicated. You do stuff like that when you're not ready to really be done.
Then don't date. You got a whole ass
Yeah.
apartment and you're still worried about your damn ex-wife and the kids. And oh, well, what about the kids? Yeah. What? It's getting a little bit too real. But he's like, oh, the kids, the kids. I haven't even been looking at your face, and the whole point of us being on Zoom was so we could look at each other. And I just have been looking at off, staring off into the distance because you can see me.
Wow.
I'm just like staring
I can
around.
see you.
Yeah, so I'm saying you see my face, and I'm just staring off at the ceiling and
I didn't
all
know.
of that.
I thought we were here together. No.
I just
Okay.
get so wrapped up. So, and I'm looking at because I have,
Understand.
as you all may have seen, I have like a wall of framed pictures of the girls. So I'm just looking at them as I'm talking about them, like, oh yes, Dorothy. But
He
let
has
me,
a shrine. It's really
it's
ridiculous.
sick. But let me look at you now. I'm just paranoid that
Okay.
GarageBand is gonna stop recording and we're gonna have like a 4 hour show and it'll be like, oh nope. So I'm just watching it. But with Glenn, I feel like how young are these kids? He's like, oh well, the kids.
Right?
You're old
That's just an excuse.
as
That's just an
Dorothy is,
excuse
and her
that people
kids are like in their
use.
40s. So what are you doing?
Right. What, he
Um,
had a 2-year-old?
right, unless he's like the guy
These are
that
just
that
excuses
Blanche
for
was dating
kids.
that had little kids. Um, one of
How
the
old are these people?
one of the many times that they were all, that one of them was going to become a mother again. Is that I mean, even
Mm,
people our age, it's not that frequent that you're gonna be thrust into motherhood, and they're in their 50s and 60s, and it's always a recurring thing. Maybe we'll
mm.
do a show about it. Let's see. What other men of Dorothy's, the men of Dorothy's boudoir, can we discuss? I feel like so many of them were kind of in passing, like when they went on the cruise and they got the condoms. Um, and what's going on at this store? Why are the condoms next to the denture grip and the Nestle's Crunch? Who did the
But
schematics
how
and the
old are they? Aren't they in
planogram?
their like 60s? Are you still like having sex at that age?
Yes,
Really?
a woman is in her sexual peak, and
Not at 60.
I mean, if you like sex now, why wouldn't you still like it when you're in your 60s? Everything's
Cause
still
you
working,
old. You don't got. I mean,
unless you're Ernie.
I
But people have great sex into their 80s and whatnot. I mean, nursing homes have a very high STD rate, actually.
good.
Because yes, because I guess they feel like, well, I can't get pregnant, so who needs condoms? So
That's awful. That's not. Oh, let me just.
I
Okay, we're being
mean,
monitored.
you should still wrap it up, no matter what age. But yeah, like old people are horny too.
Oh my God.
So you'd be surprised. Like
Does it still work? Like, when does it stop working?
well, with Viagra, never. But
Oh God. Cialis.
yeah. So if you wanna, you can have your 2 bathtubs out on a cliff, and then you
This
can
is tickling me.
go
Why
have
is that
go
funny?
have sex. I didn't know this was such a shock to you that is
Yes,
a
I
thing.
didn't know old people was like doing it.
I mean,
Like two
if you
old
were
people together, not like an old person and a young person, but like two old ass
if
people.
you
Like,
have a
that's hilarious.
special friend and you stay with them, do you think at a certain point you just be like, well, that's enough of that? No, especially if you
Yes,
still look
yes.
good. Like, okay,
I
so
don't know.
look at Angela Bassett. She's in her
She's
60s. You think she
okay,
ain't
but that's a
fucking?
different type of 60. But that's a different type of 60. I'm talking about like nursing home. You can't chew your mashed potato 60. Like,
I mean, I don't know. 60 is not that old for you to be talking
I mean,
about
not
the
60 specifically, but like 80. You know what I'm saying? Like, you come on, you just you
do
need
you
assistance with
don't you
everything. You
watch
having sex.
Grace and Frankie, this generation's Golden Girls? And they're fucking a lot and they're in their 80s.
80s?
Oh, I think on the show they're in their late 70s, but in real life they're all like 85 or something like that.
And
Um,
they getting it
Getting it in,
together.
getting it.
Child.
I mean, even
Child.
maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it differently because a lot of women will say, "Okay, well, I'm not doing that anymore. My husband died, blah blah blah." Because women can go without, I guess, easier than horny old men. But just, in my experience from like being on dating apps and stuff like that, plenty of them are old men. Plenty. And those are sometimes
old men
the
is
horniest.
different, but I'm talking about old women.
I mean, if you like to do it now, what's going to change? You can maybe go without it.
Check back with me in 50 years and we'll see where I'm at with this.
I feel like you're still doing it. But
I can't imagine. It's so much work.
I mean, yes, it's a lot of work now. So I'm like, what am I going to do if I'm really, arthritis and all of that? You may not be doing the same thing. You may not be swinging from the chandelier, but you'll make it work.
You know what I'm saying?
Whatever you got to do. For sure. And there's like some nurses and stuff like on TikTok that'll be saying how the patients in the nursing home are slapping their ass and like whipping it out on them or trying to go from room to room with the other women. So especially if you got nothing else better to do. You're not raising kids, you're not going to work. What else you got to do but a little bang bang. Wow. But if anybody is of that age, feel free to speak on this, because I think that's part of why it was so important for the writers to include that in the show, because many people don't imagine that, grandma's getting her jollies. So they wanted it to be known that this is real. They still, just like everybody else, they're still people. They're still who they are. They're just a little older.
Interesting.
It is hard to imagine.
50 years. Very much.
Even for myself.
See myself at 80.
Right, because there's times now where I'm like, I'm too tired. So I can certainly understand the idea that you may not feel like it. But I think, especially if I still look good. So we'll see. So if we're still on the air in 50 years.
Check back in 50.
We'll do an update. But all this just from rating Dorothy's Men. Or like the guy on Valentine's. There was a lot of people that just, one and done. And I'm like, is that realistic? Because even at my age, I haven't had all that many boyfriends, and they're in their 50s and 60s and, one after another. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they got it like that. But thank you, Benny, for sending us down this rabbit hole.
Thank you so much.
We're going to get a lot of hate mail now from our elderly listeners. How dare you? So thank you. We're ready for that. Do appreciate it. So Socrates Johnson, aka at slauren12, says the earrings, please. The dangling diamondy ones. They all wear them, but they're roses via her mother. While a niche topic, allegedly. It opens up a bigger discussion. Again, I feel like we talked about this.
We talked about this. We did.
But check why? Why were we talking about it?
We were talking about costume, like their best outfits and stuff like that, and then we got on the subject of the earrings that everybody shares.
But yes, just to get back into that.
Her mother, yeah.
And FYI, this is like, episode 7? So go back and listen in case you guys have missed some. But yeah, those ones.
Okay. That means y'all not listening to all our show.
I feel like, okay, you've left the room. I see. But I think we're talking about the same.
I'm available. I'm here. I can hear you.
I was just distracted due to your wardrobe.
Now because you're looking at me. I told you that already. Sorry.
So I wasn't ready. So sorry. I didn't know it was that type of party. Gonna be
I disclosed this earlier.
Trying to find your underwear in the big pile. So if we're talking about the same ones, they're the earrings that Dorothy wears in the finale when she's saying, "So good we named it." And then Blanche wears them at Phil's funeral. And I'm like, these are not Rose's earrings. Rose, I don't think, ever even wore them on the show. And they just are not her at all. So I don't know who they're trying to fool with that one.
They said they were her mother's. Her mother gave them to her.
I mean, maybe Alma would do that. But also the ones that we see a lot are like pink and blue, and it's like a little, like a dot, not a dot, but like a circle with like I don't know why I can't think of the word I want to use. A circle with a hoop, yes. And Lucy wears them. Their neighbor during the break-in, with the undercover cops, she wears them. Blanche wears them. Like, they just are passing them around from person to person. And Jean wears them. The lesbian. So I don't know if these are just communal earrings. If there was a sale somewhere, maybe Shoppers Warehouse, and they just got them in bulk. But
maybe they asked her to borrow them. People borrow stuff when you got roommates.
But Lucy and Jean, like, oh, I'm visiting from out of town. Let me get those earrings off of you. Thanks. But that is interesting. And we never see their jewelry. I know they all have vanities, but you would think the jewelry would be more on display. Perhaps not. And it's interesting.
Remember when they got robbed and Blanche was trying to find out her jewelry? She had a flower on her nose.
And that scene is one of the many scenes Lifetime cut out. So I never saw the part where Dorothy's like, "Oh, I see they didn't get your cocaine." And then Blanche starts talking about wanting to lynch people. Problematic. Nobody takes my mama's jewels without swinging for it. Yikes. And she's like, "We gotta have a whipping and a hanging." I'm like, "What the hell?" Jeez, Blanche.
Okay.
Problematic for sure.
You're a Yankee Doodle. I remember that line too. I digress.
Feldman, damn it. But thank you for that. Let me make sure I don't have any other ones that I've missed. And this is so easy to fill up a whole episode just talking about these. We are eventually going to get into episode, descriptions and things like that. But I just feel like every other podcast has done that. So what are we really going to say? Of course, we'll have our own spin on it, but it's like it's already been said. So I'm in no rush to evaluate, the entire 180 episodes when everyone else has, when we can just talk about random stuff about the show. And we'll get to them eventually, probably. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Let's see. And that was just, since I'm giving everybody their features, that was Mia Creatura, hopefully I'm saying that right, a.k.a. at Nightmare Crone, who's asking about Boca Raton, and you can hear them in the Enough Wicker, fan episode as well. But just, thank you to everybody that's been participating and, tweeting me and all that stuff. I really appreciate, because I thought I was going to get, as the kids say, paid dust and just be talking to myself. And we get a lot of interaction, and I'm just glad to find my people where, there's others. Yeah. And you may notice certain times at night, my tweets get a little out there. I am a big proponent of marijuana since it's legal in my state. So sometimes I'll be high, like the other night. Let me see if I can find one of them where I was singing.
You tweeted it?
Yeah, because you can do voice clips.
Man, you need to take your phone at night. Turn your screen time on so you can't get on Twitter.
I said no reefers. I guess I'm gonna be pothead. And also, I just want to shout out real quick while I look for that. Let me find their name. Kevco76. I've seen a lot of their stuff and didn't really know who did it. Because, people will post, "Oh, look at this funny Golden Girls picture," or whatever. And I was thinking of one, which was like a Where's Waldo type thing with all these random, one-off characters and random things from the show. And I remember thinking about that randomly, and I went and looked them up. And they have a DeviantArt page with all these hilarious pictures. I shared a few of them. I was like, I don't want to spam you all, but they have some really good ones. They have little action figure templates from different characters, like a Magda, where she says, "I like Slurpee," and I just really, really love what they do. It's really great stuff, and I'm gonna try to buy something soon. So just shout out to them. Oh, so I tweeted the other night. Would it be asking too much for a compilation CD of songs from the Golden Girls sang by fans? Hashtag now that's what I call golden. I'm going to retweet that. And then I sang a little ditty for you all.
My beer is Rheingold, the dry
high as hell.
Think of Rheingold
Whenever
you buy beer.
It's not bitter, not sweet.
It's
That ultra dry treat. Won't you please think of Rheingold beer? So if anybody else has any songs they'd like to sing for us from the show.
Eating. Is that an Eddie?
It is edible. Damn, put me on blast. Yes, it's for my chronic pain. Who are you to judge me? Another line I love to use. And maybe for 420, we'll do an episode while high. If you think we get off topic now.
Oh, shit.
Just wait.
Terrible.
Just wait.
The special 420 Golden Girls episode. That'll be hilarious. We should record that one on video and post that one.
So we
do the audio too, but do a video.
I don't know if I want to be seen like that. Because I know I always look crazy as hell. I'll send a picture to the group chat and they're like, "You're high, aren't you?"
Yes.
What gave it away? But yeah, I think that'd be interesting. Maybe a future topic, all the songs from the show, because I know there's plenty. I won't go into them now. We'll save it. But feel free to
Okay, because I
reply.
was gonna bust out the Miami song.
Definitely that's a go-to, I'm sure. But I would love it. Now that's what I call golden. I would purchase that. Maybe I'll just put it out there myself.
Let's.
But that's of course when we see the Lord, it kicks in already, I guess. The character I have the most disdain for, the bane of my existence, Kirsten Nyland. Because shortly after they're singing that, oh, I'm glad everybody's having such a good time. Okay, damn.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone mourns differently, Kirsten, and we're upset.
Right. And there was Kirsten at the cheese when they came as a sandwich and they forgot to put the cheese in between them. And before we knew it, there was Kirsten.
And then the one mention of Adam. It's so weird that like I know that they clearly didn't have like a show Bible like they do now, but in those scenes where they mention their kids, are the writers just like, let's just throw in a name? Is there any attempt?
Like they didn't want to go find
any attempt at all to be like, what was Rose's son's name? Yeah, who cares? So Adam and Ganilla. I feel like Dorothy and Sophia are the only ones that had consistent children. Like it was always from the very beginning, Michael and Kate, and nothing else. But everybody else, it's like, let's throw in a kid here, whatever, who cares? But that's one of my favorite stories as well. Heyday, the day where we say Saint Olafians celebrate. I swear, it used to take so much longer. It used to take like an hour. Now I feel like the minute I eat it, it's just downhill. That's why I waited till the end. Yeah, so I was like, let me wait till the end. Let's end on a high note, and not just because I'm a little high. But we're not formal here. We like to just make you feel like you're chit-chatting at the table with 3 chairs and a random bar stool. I know their backs must have been hurting because I know I need some lumbar support.
Listen, I need support on my back. I need back support. Absolutely.
And on a side note, they kill me with these facts you never knew about the Golden Girls. And it's like, oh, why were there 3 chairs? So that nobody's back would be to the camera. Well, big fucking audience, shock. Right. Duh. Who's writing these? We need to write them. We do have the website, which has nothing on it. And I felt like, okay, if I pay for this domain name, it'll make me edit stuff. It hasn't happened. No, so my apologies. But one day
I put the podcast on there. And we do little videos. We put that on there. Our GoldenCon stuff we could put on there.
Well, as the primary poster on everything, it's a lot sometimes. You're right. Maybe that'll be yours. That'll be your job. You can do that. Yeah. Ooh. All right. So if anyone would like to be a golden intern and help us out with some of that, we would love to have some help. So yeah, let's put that out there for all these people that have all this stuff they want to say and do. You should have
it where they can post on the website like a blog.
That's what I'm thinking. That this can be a spot where people just have one thing they want to say and that's it. So I can open it up. I'm gonna figure out how to do that, and I'm gonna open it up. If that's something you all would like to do, please let me know, and I would love that. I would love a collective of contribution. Not to step on the toes of Jim, because I know there's a Golden Girls forum on there as well, but this would be a little different. Not necessarily a forum, just like a blog, where like here's what I have to say today about this, and there's room for everybody. We can all have something on there, so I would definitely love to do that. And maybe one day I hope to be, up there with Oh Shut Up Rose. And again, I do mean this when I say that, that is iconic. That if you Google the show, you're gonna find pictures of Chris. And I told him the other day, I was like, now when I Google the show and I don't see your face on anything, I'm disappointed. So as a super fan, I would love one day to have that type of like power in the Golden Girls universe to where my face is coming up when you Google the show. That is truly iconic, my friend.
Iconic. Legendary.
Very. But yeah, we're going to get off of here before, I'm going to be looking like Blanche with the tiny balls of sunshine in the bag. But again, thank you so much for listening. And let me just say, as I have one more thing. In the last episode, you were like, that's my line. I went back and listened. I have been saying that consistently.
Because you've been taking my line, because I said it the first 3 episodes.
Did you though? Because I feel like it's mine.
Thank you for being a friend, everyone.
Oh, wow. I need something cool to say. Maybe I'll just start throwing in random lines from the show.
Random lines and quotes.
Yeah. You kill your sister over a pamphlet? So thanks for listening. I was gonna say thanks for watching. Hopefully you can't see me. Let me turn around. See, the paranoia is kicking in. All right, well, yikes. We can't do this when we're on the panel. Maybe we should. This is what they want us to just be ourselves.
Give the people what they want.
So hopefully there's a detachable microphone and I can just go into the audience like Sally, Jesse, Raphael and just talk to the people. I don't know if that's an option.
Sally and Jesse and Raphael?
Just Sally, Jesse, Raphael. Might be before your time.
I'm like, they're all one person. Yeah. That's one person.
All three of them, the whole gang. 3 in 1. But yeah, I'm excited, and I don't know exactly the format of how this will be going. But again, if there's anything you want to hear us talk about when we are there, and if you would like any interaction, because it's like from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. or something like that, and I intend to be there all day, and I'm probably going to be.
Vlog it.
I want to, and I want to harass people. Just go up to them like, "Hey, what do you love about the show?" and just stick a mic in their face and run off. Because we're going to be around people that like what we like. So.
I have a gimbal. I'm gonna bring my gimbal.
What is that? What is this hand gesture? What's
the gimbal? You put it on the thing, and it's like
what is that? I don't know what that
is. It's a stabilizer, so it keeps the camera steady while you're recording. The gimbal.
Let's see. Interesting. Well.
All right.
So unprofessional. Get it together. Come on. All right. Sorry, I woke up the cat. My bad, Angela. Okay. All right. So thank you for listening to So Good We Named It, a Golden Girls podcast, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. And as always, wait, I have something else.
What's up?
I had to announce the winner of the first winner of the what is it called?
Golden shit.
I don't know. Some golden shit.
No, it was golden. What do we name the contest?
Golden giveaway. That's what it was.
Yeah, golden giveaway. Yeah, there we go.
Yikes.
I'm not high, by the way.
Could have fooled me. I have an excuse. What's yours? At officially LBJ, also known as Tammy Faye Baker. And I just realized as I read that that's what it says, not Tammy Faye Baker.
Tammy Faye Baker, yeah.
And they have a picture in their header of them in front of the real Golden Girls house. Jealous as fuck. But they won, and they will be getting
congratulations.
They will be getting
a People magazine.
Yes, two of them actually. Just because they were the first people, first person. They didn't, there was no competition.
And they're in Australia.
Yeah, so I'm like, well, damn, if I got to send something all the way to Australia, let me make it count. So I'm sending them the People magazine from when they thought Betty was going to make it to 100, and then the one where they were like, in memoriam. So you're going to get both of those. Moving forward, I don't know if we're going to be able to include people outside of the country. I was not aware how expensive that was. I thought, if it's something small, it won't matter. Unless you want to chip in on the ship and then come on. But, for now, we may have to stick to stateside, but hopefully more people go ahead and enter, and the instructions for doing so will be at the end. But this time I'm leaving for real. I feel like Dorothy in the finale. Every time she said she was done, and she runs back in.
And she runs back in.
The imagery of her running through the grass to go through the gate to come up from the lanai, and I'm like, that's a lie.
Hilarious.
Just go back through the door. But again, thank you for listening. Thank you to everyone. And there's a few people that we definitely hope to see you soon on the show. Michelle, you wanted to co-host. H. Allen Scott, Matt Browning, Quirky Pop. We want all of you on here because this is not just our podcast. It's everyone's podcast. Unless some money's involved. Then it's just people. Us.
Yeah, that part. Because we're not going to pay y'all to come on the show.
Not paying you. But yeah, thanks for listening, and we will catch you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you for being a friend.
Yes, thank you for being a friend. My catchphrase.
Really?
Bye. To enter our So Good We Named It Golden giveaway so you too can feel like the world is one giant weenie roast and you're the biggest weenie, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at So Good We Named It, make a post letting your followers know to listen to the show, and send us a DM so we know that you entered. And don't forget to buy your tickets to GoldenCon in Chicago, April 22nd through April 24th. Go to thankyouforbeingafan.com for more information. And thank you for being a friend.